I was just about to leave the crib. I had some deliveries to make at the UPS store, but the news hit. The New Orleans Saints are in trouble. All right. Derek Carr just retired from the NFL. Their starting quarterback, they thought were going to go into this season with, just retired from the NFL. Reportedly, he had some, I guess for the first time in his career, like he just had some shoulder injury, and not for the first time in his career, but for the first time, he just it just there's a setback or something, and he just said, "Hey, I had enough." All right, he was recovering from a concussion. He was recovering just like his brother had concussion issues because of that shitty ass O line. But he had concussion stuff. He had this stuff. He had shoulder stuff. He had this stuff. He's like, you know what? Enough. I have a family. I have a wife, kids. I think he had something where he went to church this off season and did something and something like to speak to the youth and or something like that and just talked about his NFL journey and all that other stuff. So he's at a place in his life where he's content, basically. He's like, I've had my fun. I have the money. It's time for me to be a father, basically. And there's nothing wrong with that. And also, let's be real clear. The Saints fan do, from what I'm seeing, I'm not a part of that community. I'm not a part of that fan base. But from the outside looking in, it looks like the Saints fans were done with him like a minute ago. And I can't even imagine fighting through all these injuries and trying to come back and no one wants you there. Especially you look at the if you looked at, I don't know how active he is online or how, I'm sure he got fed to him. Hey man, the internet went upside down when they didn't draft Shador or something, or they didn't draft this guy, that guy, for your replacement. Like they don't want you here. There's no way I'm fighting back from injury for a fan base that does not want me there. And I can't get traded. No one else wants, his NFL experience, I'm sure has been a blessing for him. He's gotten paid. I do not feel bad for him. But in terms of football and trying to get to the to the promised land, I feel like he's like, nah, I'm not trying to come back just to be ridiculed. I'm just not. So he's like, I'm just done. And Derek Carr, bunch of NFL seasons. Congrats to that man. But this it leaves the Saints in quite a compromising position with their quarterback room and their fan base because they had an option to draft many other quarterbacks besides Tyler. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It sounds like I'm making fun of him when I pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try, but we all know who they drafted. Tyler could be the next Drew Brees for all I know. For all I know. No one knows. But he's almost as old as me, and I'm about to hit my 30s. So, like, what are we doing? And if nothing else, you have a brand new head coach coming in, a brand new regime coming in. You have a bunch of vets who are tired of losing, tired of their organization putting them, the players, in compromising positions in which they're set up to lose, basically. And you had to deal and endure Dennis Allen for all those years. So it's gotten to a point now where it seems like Saints ownership goes out of their way to not do anything to make the team better. They go out of their way to put their players in compromising positions in which, hey, I'm going to put my body on the line for X amount of games, and it's just not going to amount to anything. We're just going to go right back to where we started from. And guess what? Now they drafted a rookie quarterback. Now I have to endure some BS from a rookie or a one-year quarterback for the next, couple of years before we actually get serious and go get ourselves another quarterback. And that's not conducive. Like, again, I think a bunch of teams went into this draft for whatever reason not liking the quarterback draft this year or quarterback class this year and said, hey, we're going to tank for next year, and at the top of the leaderboards is Archie Manning. I think that is frankly ridiculous. I don't know that for certain, but just based off the moves, I can see it now. And I think it is dumb because Archie Manning has not done anything that Shador hasn't done, that Kewan Ewers hasn't done, the person that started ahead of him at the same school. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Will Howard. There's so many quarterbacks the Saints could have taken. And they decided, now we're good. And we're going to take this other quarterback. I don't understand, bro. And the Saints fans deserve to be pissed off. They have every right to sit down and chastise their team. They have every right to sit down and be like, look, we're not paying a single cent until the ownership and this team gives us something to believe in. I know they're not going to do that because they're faithful and they love their team and they love the stadium and all that good stuff. I understand. But I would not blame anyone for saying we're boycotting this organization until they try. I'm not saying you have to get us to the Super Bowl or get us to a playoff spot. I'm saying you have to at least show that you're trying. And over the last 5 years, you have not given us a single thing to show that you're trying. You have not done it. The New Orleans Saints organization should be one of the most premier organizations in the NFL. It should attract a lot of players, including a competent quarterback. And the Saints organization every single year goes out of their way to show that we are one of the worst run organizations in the league. And that's saying something when Carolina exists. Now, Carolina Carolina got some people out the way last season. They look like now I don't believe they had a plan going ahead. I think Bryce Young just snapped out of it, and I think he just elevated to the next level on his own and through just not giving up. And I don't believe in their head coach at all, but I do believe in Bryce Young. And I do think that now the New Orleans Saints is one of the worst run organizations in the NFL. It's not Washington Commanders no more. It's a toss-up with Carolina, but Carolina has promise. They're going to the season with a lot of promise. They have their quarterback, and they said, you know what, we believe in you now. We're gonna get you some weapons. They showed in the draft that they believe in their quarterback. The Saints did not believe and do not believe in Derek Carr. The Saints were in no position to pass on Shedeur Sanders the way they did. They were in no position to pass on Quinn Ewers. They were in no position to pass on Will Howard. And yes, it's not just about Shedeur Sanders. I'm saying there is a plethora of quarterbacks who have proven in the college level that they can play. Dylan Gabriel, I'm not even high on Dylan Gabriel, but they passed on him. They passed on Dylan Gabriel, by the way, was a Heisman finalist, right? Yeah, he was one of the top 3. So you were in no position to pass on these players, yet you did. And I just don't understand. Now, maybe I'm going to assume this Derek Carr news was a huge surprise and they didn't even know. But if they had even a single clue that he was about to retire, like they talked about this prior to the draft, and they passed on all these quarterbacks and picked the quarterback that they did pick, the Saints fans deserve a refund for their season tickets. The Saints fans deserve answers that the owner and GM cannot give them, and the head coach cannot give them. And I would feel bad for Kellen Moore if I didn't think he had a hand in this. I truly believe I do not believe in who the Saints picked as their head coach. I hope I'm wrong. For the Saints fans, again, for Saints fans, I don't want your team to be the worst in the NFL. I think it's lit when all the teams are competitive. I'm not saying every team has to win out, but I'm saying I like when all teams are competitive. You think I want to sit down on Thursday Night Football and watch the freaking Cleveland Browns versus the Saints? And you think I want that? You think anyone wants to? If we have to watch these nationally televised games, we don't want any matchups to be boring or blow or bad. We want competitive sports. We want competitive games. I want you to be good. But when you have ownerships and GMs who are doing this, it doesn't make any sense. I just don't know how you know Derek Carr's about to retire, and then this is who you draft. And again, this could be clipped years from now when he wins the Super Bowl. Tyler wins the Super Bowl for y'all. And I'll admit right now, okay, you proved me wrong. But nothing on that tape showed me that he should have been drafted over any other quarterbacks who got drafted around 5 and below. 3 or below, really, for 5 and below. There was no tape. No one was talking about Tyler. And rightfully so. And the Saints organization has some explaining to do. And I would honestly not surprise. I would not be surprised if players were like, "Fuck this! I'm done with this organization. When my contract's up, if I don't demand trade, when my contract's up, I'm gone. I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't a winning organization. This isn't an organization that even tries. There's an organization who has no plan. They just want money, and all they want to do is just own a football team. They don't want to win. They don't care about our bodies. They don't care about our minds. They just want money. And as a competitor, like if I'm Cam Jordan, I'm gone. I understand his loyalty, and I commend him for it. But I would not be mad at him anymore. This Saints organization is trash. And the fans deserve, so the city deserves way more than watching team after team after team walk into their stadium during Super Bowl weekend and win a Super Bowl in their stadium because their ownership group, or not even ownership group, their ownership, I don't know if it's a group or not, but their ownership is too incompetent to do anything else to get us even close to there. Every year, it seems like they're starting over with a new quarterback, even though it's been Derek Carr. Because he's been, unfortunately, injured, and he just doesn't play well consistently enough. Since his Raider days. His early Raider days. And they had a chance to draft a quarterback, and then and then have Derek Carr be that veteran. Or draft a quarterback, release Derek Carr, or bench Derek Carr, or have Derek Carr take his time to come back, and go sign a veteran quarterback to help shepherd some of these young guys. Because Spencer Rattler is not the future. Tyler is not the future. Because by the time he gets to the NFL and does his thing, he will be 30 years old in like 3 years. I don't know how old he is. Matter of fact, hold on. I think he's 26. I think the fact that he's 25. He was born in 99. God, that arm angle is crazy. Anyway, he's 25. In 5 years' time, he's going to be 30. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck, Saints fans.